It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is, I hate to say this name because I'm terrible with this, but it's Granicus? Is that
Granicus, I think.
Granicus. Yeah. And that's Thieves, Liars, and Traitors.
It's a good tune.
And just before that, we heard Lady Beast with Heavy Metal Destiny.
Yeah.
And we want to thank Bill Peters for being a part of the Classic Metal Show tonight. And, it's always good to have Bill on.
Really is. It's funny when he reminds me of the things that we used to do. Because I got him into a lot of trouble. He's another, in whatever book it was, Little Victories, when I wrote about people that should not be my friend anymore.
Sure.
Bill is definitely one of those guys. I mean, for fuck's sake, you talk about the sexual harassment things that are going on today. Bill had this coworker named Hillary.
Yeah.
And Hillary had great tits. I mean, fucking spectacular tits. And she was at the Pantera meet and greet.
Okay.
And I literally she was standing in the parking lot taking pictures, and I grabbed the microphone and got all 3,000 people standing in line to start chanting at her, "Show your tits."
Nice.
That was his coworker.
Right.
It was just me being me.
What? Chris not just being Chris Aiken?
Imagine that.
I never heard of such a thing.
I know.
Too funny. Hail and Kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hail and Kill, boys. It's Tim James.
Hey, what's up, Tim James? One of your heroes was on the show tonight. I'm sure you heard it, right?
Which who?
Bill Peters.
I don't know the guy from a bar of soap.
You never heard Bill Peters' show?
No, never.
Oh my God! Well, what are you doing on my line then?
We got to get him tuned in.
Yeah. Well, what's on your mind tonight, there, Tim?
Well, I wanted to discuss the mighty Chris Aiken's book.
Okay.
Firstly, Chris Aiken is an absolute fucking legend for writing a book about in my opinion, the greatest album of all time, ever. It's my favorite album ever.
All right.
The Motley Crue 1994 record. However, I did listen to the audio book today, and I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions and talk about it.
Okay.
So, actually, no. What am I saying? I listened to the audio book as soon as I got it. But the thing I want to talk about is, firstly, you mentioned in the book a fair amount that there's not much in common with Motley Crue from Dr. Feelgood to the 94 record. I would agree with that. However, I don't know. Do you not think, and I've always thought this, that there's a definite link between Primal Scream and Power to the Music?
There could be. I mean, they were changing. They were certainly changing, and they probably knew that Vince wasn't working when Primal Scream happened. Because the way I understand it was that they decided when they did Misunderstood that Vince had to go. That they wrote it, they demoed it, and Vince sucked, and that's when they decided that Vince had to go. That's the way I understood it. Like that, it wasn't the same words, because I know Karabi wrote the words, but they had written that song musically, and
and Vince didn't like it.
Yeah, Vince didn't like it, and then they booted him out of the band, and that's kind of if you listen to that song too, that has a little sort of Primal Screamish type thing in the faster part, but it could, but it didn't. It certainly did not have much to do with the Feel Good record, not at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I definitely see that. But it's almost like you were saying in your book that it was like a big surprise, the direction that they were going in after Feel Good. And it wasn't I mean, to me, it wasn't really at all, because obviously I heard Primal Scream the second I could hear it and bought the CDs. I mean, I was a nut, a motley nut, and I still am. But the other thing too is you mentioned that John Corabi wasn't announced as singer until just as the record came out. My recollection is, and you got to understand, in this whole period, I studied every single magazine I could get my hands on. The one single mention of what was going on with the band. I mean, there was no, like, from Vince Neil leaving on Valentine's Day and a couple of press releases and interviews with Vince that followed on MTV and things like that. This is the Australian MTV, not the US one. I didn't see those till much later. But there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing, except for occasionally Hit Parader or something like that would do like a rehashed article. And also there were mentions in Metal Edge, I think sometime in 93 or even 92 at some point, did a small thing. I remember the very first photo session the band did was in a graveyard. It was either in a graveyard, or there was a photo of the band outside their plane or something in a blizzard, or like it was very, it was snowing, and they did mention that Corabi was the singer. Obviously, that never made it to MTV, but I think it was confirmed after they sorted out all the legal issues with Hollywood Records or whatever it was. Is that your recollection as well?
I remember them announcing it, and Neely, jump in if you remember different, but I think I remember much closer to the Hooligans Holiday single. I don't remember it before that. And I remember watching like MTV, and MTV was trying to make the comparison between who would do better, Anthrax or Motley. But they didn't know who the singer was, so it wasn't much of a comparison, and that would have been 92-ish, I think, as well. So I don't remember exactly when. Do you, Neely?
No, I remember it was sort of a mystery as to, what Motley was doing once Vince got the boot.
Right, up until close to the record. Right?
They didn't say anything for nothing major at least for a year and a half or some shit.
Right. All right. Well, I'm not saying again. I didn't do in-depth research here. I just went by what I remember.
Yeah. No. That's cool. That's cool. The other thing that you mentioned. I mean, I'm just so I'm obsessed by this era of the band. And by the way, if anyone has a tour program, I want to talk to you about seeing them on that tour as well. If anyone has a tour program from that, I'm willing to buy it and pay you some money for it, because I'm completely obsessed by this period.
Okay.
Also, the thing that, do you not see Hooligan's Holiday? You mentioned the single. Now, I didn't realize this myself until my best friend, who's also happens to be the guitar player on all my stuff, mentioned to me at the time, because the very first major article I saw on this era of the band was in Kerrang magazine in November of 1993. They did a cover story, and there was a huge article. But Hooligan's Holiday is really Aerosmith's Round and Round.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah, very, very, very similar. Yeah, no, it's I mean, when I bought that single, it was all I listened to for like 3 weeks. When I very first heard it, I thought, this is horrible. the very first time I heard it. But I bought the single and I took it home, and I just, from about the second or third play, I just couldn't. I just loved it. So you, and it was interesting what you were saying. You mentioned about, you thought they looked really small in that video.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, wasn't
Why
it the
don't
fact
you
that
just
they were
read my book on the air, Tim? Jesus.
I think you've basically broke it down to the Cliff Notes.
Jeez, Tim. Leave some
and-
mystery for people.
I love it. Everybody should buy it, and everybody should buy the album at the same time. And the other thing I was going to mention to you, now, this was in the dirt. Now, I don't, whether you can believe everything that's in the dirt or not, I don't know. But they maintain that because of the $25 million deal that they signed, that Elektra wouldn't let them change the name of the band.
I don't believe that.
Because you don't believe that.
No. No. I mean,
Yeah.
Elektra would have made them put something out as Motley Crue with Vince, but, you know, they weren't going to change the name. Let's be real. What does 6 a.m. sell versus Motley Crue? It doesn't sell as much. The name Motley Crue was a huge name in 1994. So they went with the money name.
Anymore. No rock bands sell anymore. Hardly.
Yeah. Well, but they went with the name that was going to make them the most money. That's just like the Bobby Blotzer thing from 2 years ago or whatever. He needed to call it Rat because it was worth $7,000 to $10,000 more a gig.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Definitely
anyway,
right.
Everyone needs to. I mean, that album is so underrated.
You enjoyed the
best
book, Tim?
album they've ever done. I loved it.
Did you enjoy the crematory story?
Yes, I did. The other thing I'd reckon is I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of your books and also reading through that Motley book again while listening to the audio book as well.
Wow.
Wow.
I would maybe...
Will you call back and tell me which words I flubbed?
I can't help it, man. I'm obsessed with this fucking record.
You know, you said "and" here, and it should have been "or." It says "or" in the book, but "and."
Well, hey, you should be happy that I listened to it so intently.
Tim, I had no doubt in my mind that you were going to memorize it word
Chris,
for word.
on page 50, you referenced, you referenced John Corabi's look. Now, what I recall...
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Tim. I figured you would, and I'm glad you did. And I thought I told some good stories and had a good mix of factual stuff with some of my sillier stuff.
Have you thought about doing audiobooks of your other books? That'd be awesome.
I've been asked to do it by the company that's putting out the audio versions of the books, but I'm going to do the Metallica one. I'm going to go back and reread it. That's my December project, actually. But call me Chris.
I can't wait to buy that.
Call me Chris and Victories, man. Those are some long fucking books to read.
Well, I'm going to buy them. So.
Okay, well, that's great, Tim. I'll spend 6 months doing it, and I'll make $8. That's fantastic.
First day buyer.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, well. And
Tim, it took me, just to do this little Motley book, which is, 2 hours or 3 hours or something? Whatever it is. Yeah. It took me 6 days a week for a month and a half to get the read done. It takes a long time to do it and do it right.
Yeah, who do you think he is? James Earl Jones?
I think Chris Aiken I think he's an absolute legend.
I agree, personally.
He's an inspiration to me.
See that?
So
See that legend inspiration,
Right.
really.
I'm thinking I hear some Chicago playing in the background. You're the meaning in my life. You're the inspiration.
that's a great song.
See?
It's a great song.
Especially when you're looking at my
And,
picture, right, Tim?
You brought meaning to my life. You're the inspiration.
Tim, have you ever looked at my picture while singing that song?
No, I have not.
Will you?
No, I'm not sexually attracted to you in any way, shape, or form, Chris Aiken.
Yeah, but I'm a legend. I'm the inspiration.
Yes, yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm sexually attracted to you.
Well, I don't want you to
a
be.
meal, not a snack. Hail
I'm
and kill.
not asking you to be.
I want a meal, not a snack. Hail and kill.
Tim. What's the matter with that guy?
I'd like to thank Tim for reading my book on air.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Chris, on page 39, there was an interesting way that you put it.
Yeah. You know, you put a comma where you might have used a semicolon on page 42, line 6.
Now, was this a question you were asking yourself, or do you think this was an introspective question that you want the fans to ask themselves when reading that line?
Yeah, well, let's discuss, Tim.
Because it kind of conjured up a few thoughts in my mind, but I want to know which direction you were going, because I kind of want to meld with your thought process.
Yeah, let's go into the author's studio, shall we? Jesus.
You know our love was meant to be kind of love to last forever.
You're the legend, Chris.
And I
I am.
want you here with me
To read me my Motley book in person.
from tonight until the end of time.
Read me a story.
You should know
I think of Chris. I have his book under my arm.
always on my mind, in my heart, in my soul.
Here we go. You're the meaning in my life. You're the inspiration. You bring meaning to my life. You're the inspiration.
Wanna have you near me? I wanna have you hear me say it. No one needs you more than I need you.
Oh, man.
That's Tim serenading you.
Yeah, thank you, Tim.
Oh my God. It's too funny.
It is funny.